All right, welcome everybody to MLS Monday. It's Monday, the 15th of September. We are almost at the end of quarter three, which is exciting. One more quarter of 2025.
Don't know how that happens.
And it has flown by very quickly. So our topic today is
Putting the listing in right the first time.
putting listing in right. So why is that important to put the listing in right the first time?
Don't even get us started. So we could spend hours on this. Really, we're going to try to put it down into 1 hour. But at the end of the day, putting that listing in wrong, and we're going to go through some different specifics, could really hurt the outcome of who's going to receive and see your listing, right? It goes into the wrong bucket, goes into the wrong search, gets into the wrong hands, doesn't get into the right hands. And that hurts you, your seller, the numbers, and especially right when you launch that listing. Yes, you can go back and you can fix things, but it's really important to get it right from the first time, because when you click submit and it goes active and it does that initial thing where it goes out to the syndication sites, to the emails, to the customers, if it's not in the right place, you're missing out.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that whole thing about having a first impression, that's that's the result of somebody hiring you, agreeing to pay you compensation to put the listing not only in the MLS but to get it sold. There's a lot more components that go to it, but that's the piece that everybody sees. And we've seen so many times where there's in a hurry to get it out there, and they want to make sure that it hits the wire, so to speak, so quick that I've seen people upload the wrong photos of the wrong house. We've had people put the wrong PID number in, pull the address in, put the pictures of the right house in under the old address. And to the customer, it's look at this person, like, are they even competent? And mistakes are made. So taking time, I think, is important. One of the cool things about the MLS itself is you've got a feature in it that allows you to start the process and not make it active. So you don't have to sit down and cram for the exam, so to speak. You can actually start the input process and have it inactive, right, for a period of time, so that you don't have to cram it. And I think that's part of what we're going to talk about today, is getting it in there right.
Yeah, and the first question that we have from you guys in here is there a way to input the listing information, save it as a draft without posting it, and making sure the sellers are happy with it before it's right? And we'll show you that you can save it as incomplete, and you can click into it where you can see the printout. Nobody else will see it, only you. And you can, certainly do a printout of the MLS sheet, send it to your seller, and make sure they're happy with it too. It's a great CYA.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right, so to begin with, do we want to hop in and show them some different resources, or you want to go right into input?
Let's go show some resources. So one of the things that I think is important is, everybody works really hard to, number one, obtain the listing appointment, go in there, razzle dazzle your potential seller, get the listing agreement signed, negotiate your compensation, negotiate terms, and then get the MLS, loaded up with the property. This is a great, the MLS, number one, it's an open market for real estate, right? That's what it's for. And it should be the source of truth, right? So everything in there should be accurate. We find a lot of mistakes are made, and some of it is out of, honestly, pure laziness. Some is out of not being competent in the area, right? And guessing. But we have rules and regulations around our MLS. So these rules and regulations on the bottom there, on the main screen, when you click into that, these are the rules. If you click into that, you're going to pull up the actual MLS rules. Now, on this first page, if you scroll back up there, you're going to have NAR certified 225 and updated 525. We get our rules and regulations certified annually from NAR, which means they go through it, make sure there's nothing that's not correct, and that all the mandatory NAR rules are in place, and that any optional ones are adopted based on the type of MLS you have, whether we're a wholly owned MLS by the association. So those are certified. So as you go through this, we have a table of contents. And Joanna, you can thank her for the organization here. She has put this document together, which is way beyond my pay grade. But everything's here: definitions, what's an MLS, what's the purpose, the agreement between the associations, MLS service area, everything's on here. Anything you'd want to know about the MLS and nauseum is on here. Including our rules. So if there's a question on it, can I do this? That's where you go. And on a PDF document, you should be able to search that. You should be able to answer your own questions and actually be able to follow that. There are a couple rules that are pretty cut and dry that do not get a 3-day right to correct.
Mhm.
And those are clear cooperation violations, which means that you advertise the property without putting in MLS within 24 hours. Some of those that are, when they're automatic, means you put the advertisement on Monday, you put in the MLS on Saturday, and we caught it. And it was after the fact that we caught it. So it's typically an automatic find. We caught it before, and it's been out there way too long. So the advertisement came out Monday, we caught it on Wednesday, spend the 24 hours we gave you already to put in the MLS. And then secondly is putting commission in the MLS, right? So we get a lot of questions in here. We take about 1,200 phone calls a week. We meet with the team every Monday at 8 o'clock here in the office, and we met this week, and we're talking about, some of the things that people call with. So, the rules are made, just so everybody's aware, to be fair to the seller and to the buyer, right? So there's nothing that's, it's an open marketplace, supposed to be a fair marketplace. That's why the rules are in place. They're thought out. Any additional rules are gone through with the MLS committee, the MLS board of directors, and ultimately the association board of directors ratifies that. So they've been through several layers. The people that sit on the MLS committee are people that use MLS, understand it, and are practitioners. So they're all there for a reason. A lot of people say, why is this in place? Why? We can think about the reasons why something like that would be in place, but there's a process that we've gone through. There's also the mandated rules from NAR, which we have to adopt based on the fact that we're a wholly owned subsidiary of the association as the MLS. So with that being said, we have a lot of people call and go, well, my dad, my dad said I shouldn't put it in, and we shouldn't put it pending, even though we have a contract on it. Or my lawyer said we can't put it pending because we have a contract on it. My lawyer said we shouldn't put it pending. The lawyer does not own the MLS. They don't have to make the rules. They give legal advice to their client, but our rules are our rules, right? So, and there are fines that go along with that. So with that, let's move on to input.
Okay. So one last resource before we hop into input. I know you're so excited, but you've also got links inside of Matrix that will give you a shortcut to the rules as well. And then if you scroll down here, you've got the profile sheets. These will help you with input. So for those of you that are asking about like getting your seller's opinion on it, getting their stamp of approval, these profile sheets have every single field that we're going to go through. It's on a fillable PDF. So you can download that. You can either send it to them or bring it with you on your listing appointment when you walk through, have them go through it. Then you're really getting the source of truth. You can write in there what stuff you're going to get from the property appraiser's office or what source, you're going to get your stuff from, and then let them know what they need to fill out as well, so that you're getting it directly from that seller. But for every different bucket that we have, whether it's the residential, lot and land, those all exist here, and that's in under links in Matrix.
Yeah, and just as a matter of practice, real quick. So if you're thinking about where do I do this and how do I get it done, if you think about this in a practical way, you would get your listing agreement signed by your customer, right? That you're gonna go in. I would already start the fillable input form with the things from Property Appraiser website, right? And fill it all out. Because if you're filling it out as you go, you're never going to have to guess. You're never going to have to say, was that lanai southern facing, northern facing? Because you'll have it done. So I get everything, get what I would call in my office done, Property Appraiser website, whatever you're using, Realist. Get all that information on there, right? It'll be, you can get the length and width of the actual lot. You can get all kinds of information from their square footage, etc. So you have all that on there, and then you can print it out, is what I used to do, is print it out. Some of it's filled out and some of it's not. And I would just take this thing called a pen and a clipboard, and I would fill it out when I went back for pictures, right? So it would be started into the, it would be started in the MLS already for me. We'll show you how to do that and save it. And then I'd have this thing that'd be mostly filled out, and then I'd have to be able to print my information. I like that. You can also do this thing called an iPad, right? And take the notes in there. I did it on paper. I'd be able to come back, hand it to my admin and say, okay, go ahead and put the rest of this MLS listing in, right? And the fun thing to do is be able to walk that with a customer, right? How many ceiling fans are there? I can tell you. I mean, I sent things in the MLS before. I had 12 ceiling fans. There's no way the house got sold 12 ceiling fans. right?
3-2, and it's got like 20 ceiling fans.
Yeah, I mean, go in there and really do it, because
We see it.
by
We do.
doing that and filling that out, you're doing your property, your marketing plan, and everything else a lot of justice by having that there. You know, take your app on your phone. If you don't know where it's at, you go up here and you scroll down and you put in the search thing, you put compass, and you stand at the back of the nine, you look at it, it says northwest. Okay, cool. Now I know exactly what that is, and you can write that in. And everything's written in there, and I hand it to the customer before I leave after pictures are done. And I say, here you go, can you initial all this?
Mhm.
And they initial the sheet that I input. Okay, they're agreeing to it. Now, when I get the pictures back, I'm gonna send the pictures and the one page, or it's several pages, but it's one PDF of the actual input, and we'll show you how to do that, and send that back and say, please return with your approval.
Mhm.
Right? So now you're covering yourself all along and the customer feels like they're part of the process.
Mhm.
And, I'm somebody that, is a high D, high I. I don't want to be part of the process, but I appreciate somebody taking the time and dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Yeah. Well, and if you're filling it out ahead of time too, with what you're finding in the property record, I think that's important because you're going to go ahead, it's going to auto populate that. That's what you're going to put in. But how often, do we see that sometimes they say that's wrong, or they've got, an extra bedroom that's unpermitted, and that opens up that conversation for discrepancies between what the property actually has and what the property appraiser believes it has.
Correct. And some of the times it's not, some of the times it's the property appraiser that's not correct. Right? They have a permit, it
Uh-huh.
wasn't filed and closed out the right way.
It's not done yet.
And it's not,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just, there's all kinds of stuff to that.
So the next question we have is, what if a listing agreement was signed on the weekend and the seller does not want the property to go into the MLS until the photography gets taken? We do have a form for that. It is the not the MLS non-participation form. It's in there under links as well. Same place where you would get those input sheets. You can get that form. It's in Form Simplicity as well. So you would have that filled out and you can submit it into the MLS. So that will cover you for your timeline, if it can't be put in within that 48-hour window. But the big thing to keep in mind is it doesn't mean that you get to go and market it as coming soon. That will still put you in violation of clear cooperation. But if you get the listing and you've got a good amount of time before it can go in the MLS, prep time, photography time. That's what we have that form for, to keep you, out of any kind of liability for not putting it in the MLS, not representing it correctly. You get that form filled out, and then you can market it once it's in the MLS.
And we are, just so for clear transparency, we are looking at expanding the 3-day rule.
Mhm.
And we'll let you know, we'll put an announcement out when that happens, but we're
Mhm.
looking at a 7-day rule. Which mirrors what NABOR does. We are looking at that. It went through committee.
Mhm.
But we are looking at that. So
Yeah.
we do understand that that is there, but there's a form for that.
Yeah, so that you can make sure you get that listing set up right the first time.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, so in the input screen, for those of you who have not been in input before, if you have listings, they will be here where you can select them. But to start brand new, you're going to go ahead and click Add New. And then this is a really important piece, and it seems pretty simple, but we get a lot of calls about this, making sure you choose the right bucket. Okay, so is it a residential property? Is it a residential income property? The residential rental, lot and land, commercial? The reason that this is so important is, one, you want the property represented right, but two, some of these buckets don't feed out to the same sites as others. For example, like your rental listings are obviously going to go out to different portals like apartments.com, rentals.com. Like they're going to go out to stuff that was intended for rentals. If your property has any kind of like dual use, maybe it's like residential or commercial, I got to tell you, you put it in commercial, it's not going out to a lot of different sites. Zillow, realtor.com, like they don't take commercial listings. So if you were to put something in commercial because you thought that it was going to get more attention there, it's not. You want to put it where its best intended use is and what it says on LIPA, the public record, what it's classified as. Because at the end of the day, if it is put in the wrong bucket, you can't just move it. This is like the one chance you have to put it in the right bucket. Otherwise, you're going to have to terminate that listing and relist it completely. There is no way for us to move it from one data bucket to the next.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain fields that are different, those types of things. And I see this a lot when it comes into residential income listing input. So if the house is currently an investment property for me, I've got a house in Cape Coral, it's a 3-2 with a pool. I'm renting it out. I'm selling it. Tenants moved out. I decide I'm gonna liquidate my portfolio. I'm gonna put that in the MLS. Some agents will put that under residential income listing, okay? Yes, it was providing me as the owner income,
Mhm.
but that person that's gonna probably buy it, may not think the same way.
Mhm.
And you're gonna limit your exposure on that. So it should go into residential listing input,
Mhm.
not income list, it's not a residential income listing. I mean, it is for me as a current owner, but for the new buyer, it's not
Mhm.
necessarily, right? So we see a lot of that. If you pull up residential income listings, when I think of that, I think of duplexes and triplexes and
And it
quadplexes.
does lock you into only being able to list those ones. You'll know immediately when you get into
Yeah,
input, when you go to building design and you're like, well, why isn't my option here? You go into residential, you're like, where's duplex? It's in the other bucket. If you were to go to residential income,
correct,
people go in there, they're like, where's single family? That's not,
right.
they only exist in those two buckets. The moment you get to that first page, you'll know you're in the
You're
wrong
wrong bucket.
spot.
Yeah.
So for simplicity's sake, we're going to start out with the residential listing input. These all work exactly the same. It just depends on what type of property is in each. So for starters, you've got options to fill from the tax roll. So this is where the property will pull in as much information as it can from the property appraiser's office. For Lee County, it would be LIPA. It's pulling in that information for you, fills out, how many fields is it, Jason?
It's a lot.
21?
Yeah, it's like
I think
21.
it's like 21,
Yeah.
22. If you have previously listed a property, you can also switch into fill from cross property. It will not let you pull in information from another listing. It has to be your own. No, you cannot copy somebody else's listing. Or you can click start with a blank listing. It will just take you right to the input field and it won't autofill anything for you. So if you have a property maybe that's not in public record yet, some kind of special situation, you can just do a blank listing without plugging in the tax information. So let's try, we'll do a random address here. We'll pick on a Cape Coral address. So with this is a search. You don't want to input a lot of information because too much information may like filter out the properties completely. A lot of times if they have a specific last name, you could just search by their last name. But this is where you're searching the public record for that property. Once it pulls up and you see the correct one, if it pulls up multiple, you'll see a whole list here. When you see the correct one that you're looking for, you'll click fill right here on the left-hand side. And then this is going to start your entire input process. For the question we had earlier, can you save this and come back to it? This is the important screen for saving it and coming back to it. So you can see that incomplete is automatically highlighted here on the status tab. Until you change it to active, it will not go out into the MLS, but you can work through all of these different tabs here. And at any point, if we click submit listing, you now have it where you can continue to come back to it, work on it. And as you work on it, you're already given an MLS number. If you go into that MLS number, your work will show here. So this is something as you work through it, you can print it out, you can send it to your customer, but it shows as incoming. So nobody will be able to see that except for you. And we'll go back to where we were. Obviously, I've used this address before. All right. So coming back into here, you're going to want to work across these tabs on the top, making sure it stays incomplete until you're ready to make it active. So starting off with the general tab, you can see that a lot of this is pulled in from the public record, and this is going to be your tab that's filled out the most for you. And right here, you've got the PID, the address is broken down into these different pieces. Double check this, make sure that you've pulled in the right property. We hear it a lot. Somebody plugs in the wrong PID. We just had it last week. Somebody pulled in the wrong PID and the PID was off by one number. So the address it pulled in was the neighbor's address. So the only thing that was off was one number here and one number here. So they didn't catch it because it looked, yep, nope, looks good. Filled out the whole thing, but all this information that it pulls in, and you'll see like later on the tax tab, it pulls in all the tax information. It was all incorrect. They went all the way through, they made it active, and boom, you've got something out on the feed and out on all the websites where it's completely the wrong listing. Going back and correcting it is like way too late because it's attached itself in public record, to the wrong PID and the wrong property completely. So do double check that it's pulled in all of the right information. Continuing down through here, are there any specific fields that you want to talk to?
Yeah, so go up a little bit.
Mhm.
So you've got on the top right-hand side, you got status type. So this is assignment of contract. This is, if you're using that type of business model and you have an assignment of contract, known damage, right? Which is what? That's currently known damage. We'll be changed to that soon.
Yep, it'll have a currently next to it. So those are came around when we had the hurricanes come through, and that's for properties that they have damage right now. We see a lot of people that say, "Well, hey, it was damaged 3 years ago, but they fixed it. It's good to go." That's just going to be a resale property. But if you're selling something right now that is a damaged property that needs to be fixed, that goes into that separate bucket.
Right. And then you've got under contract
Under construction.
or under construction. Eyes bad.
Yeah, you've got, so it goes from pre-construction to under construction to new construction. And for those of you that are working with builders, this is very important that you come out here. First, make sure you choose the right type of status, and then also make sure you update it. Pre-construction means you have not broken ground yet, but you do have a permit number. Once you've broken ground, that's when it moves to under construction. And then once you've received the CO, that's new construction. And new construction also means no one has ever lived in it. Just because it was built this year and they moved in for a couple months, decided they didn't like it, and then they're moving out and selling it, that's a resale now. That's not new construction. So new construction, it has the CO and no one has lived in it. These statuses are really important because the buyers that are being plugged in here, they are filtering by these specifically based on their timeline. For somebody who needs something now and they don't have time to wait for the construction process, they're only looking at new construction. But for those that do have a wider timeline, they will look at things that are pre-construction or under construction. So that helps set that expectation with them ahead of time.
Yeah. And then we got list price. Where does that come from?
Just what I decided, what I dreamt up. No, that comes right from your listing agreement. Yep. So, and if it's ever, a question or anything like that, compliance has any kind of issues, you will get a document request from the compliance department. So make sure that your list price matches what is on your listing contract. And if you make any changes, make sure you've got your documents for that as well.
Okay. And then on the right-hand side here, these areas here, you got
sources.
Yeah, your sources, living area, total area, and your lot dimensions. Where did you get them from? And a lot of people, they'll click on their survey, the property will go under contract, and the buyer's agent will say, "Where's the survey at?" "Well, I don't have one." "Well, it said that you came in with survey, that this came in with survey. What's going on?" So just know that, you've got tax appraiser, you've got, some different ones on there, documents, whatever. Use the source that you use to get your information.
Yeah. So we've got a few questions already. If there is known damage, but they are currently fixing it, do we put it under construction? No, under construction is just for new buildings and new construction. If they're currently fixing it, it's known damage, but you can put that in the property description. If you want to get into details, you can also, put it in the confidential remarks if you only want it to go to the realtors, but that's something that you can put in the description. And then where do we go to continue inputting listing information? So if you have saved it as incomplete, when you go back, you'll go to input, you'll have a drop down bar now. Your listings will all show there, so you can just click right into your listing.
And I'll have an I in front of it for incomplete.
Yeah, when we're done going through these tabs as well, we'll show you how to leave and come back as well.
All right.
All right.
Right here too, your virtual tour links. For the
hidden.
longest time, they're hidden. They're on the front page. People ask and call all the time, "Where are these at?" That's where they're at. They're right there. And so you can put up to 2 links in there. This is your virtual tours. It's no secret that, rich media is being sought after by the online portals.
Yep.
So if you've got one, put it in. We're only allowing unbranded tours in there, unbranded tours, unbranded flyovers, unbranded videos. There can't be a branding with it, which means your logo, your name, your phone number, your website cannot be in any of those. It is a violation. The reason for it, again, is it's supposed to be a very fair, level, open market. And if we allowed agents to brand themselves, the agents with the most listings would win, and everybody else would be out, right? So on the left-hand side, you'll see legal unit. A lot of people guess at that. They put a 0 in, they put a 1 in, they put wherever in. make sure you're going out to look at what legal unit that is.
And it can
Okay.
be found inside of LIPA or, whatever county you're in. It's on the property appraiser's site, but it also is part of this PID. This PID builds up the
Yep.
numbers that you see down here. So you see it's 28,
range.
43, 23. You've got 28, 43, 23. So you can follow those numbers along to see
Yep.
which one's missing and also pull that legal unit
Block
from
and
there.
unit, yeah, block, lot and unit.
Yeah. It's
So
part of your real estate exam there.
it is part of your real estate exam.
We
I
all
know.
try to block it out, PTSD, but you got to remember it for that legal unit.
Yep.
So, also want to point out here, you'll see that some of these are bolded and underlined and some of them are not. If they are bolded and underlined, those are required fields by us. If they are not required fields by us. Some of them will trigger to be required. If you put in here pets, with like limits, well, then it's going to want to know what the limits are, right? But if you were to say, with approval, no approval needed or anything like that, then you don't have to plug these in. But for the most part, bolded and underlined, that's what's required. The non-bolded and underlined are not required by us. But the more you put in, the better off you are, because you have to remember, for every field that you might think is silly, and especially when we get to the features tab up here and you've got like 100 different check boxes, you might think it's a pain and you might think, oh, who cares? Like, who cares if there's like fruit trees, or who cares about the fence? There is somebody out there that is filtering by the most tiny detail possible, because what's important to them is they only want that house that has a fireplace, or they only want the house that has a fence for their dog. And that's why it's so important to fill out as much detail as possible and not just go through this listing and go, okay, what's required of me? I'm just going to do what's required of me.
Yep. So then you got your building design, which is your single family, low rise. Those 1 to 3 is the number of floors. So we consider a low rise up to 3 floors. 4 to 7 is mid, and high rise is 8 plus. Anybody out there in TV land that came from another state, that's different by state. I mean, if you go to New York City, anything under 12 feet is considered a low rise, right? So it is. It's just different. It's just what's in that jurisdiction. So townhouses, villas, attached and detached, etc. And then you've got your product here. Build a product, yes or no. So again, floors and property, unit floors, units and building. Where would you find units and building if you're going over to, like, say, Linsford? How would you know how many units are in that development, right? So there is information in LIPA that you can actually go and look at it. Also, HOA documents will have it in there. So if you're asking for HOA documents, as you're taking a listing on, there's always a list of stuff that I always ask for, which was, I want all your HOA documents. I want to be able to have them, read them, go through them to know the units in building, units in complex. It's going to be in the HOA documents as well. So
yeah. And a lot of times I was teaching a class recently in person and somebody said, oh, I just look up the other listings that are in the community and copy those numbers over. And I pulled up that community in front of the class and we went through like 6 different listings that were in there. And like half of them had one answer, half of them had another answer. And it was like, how are you going to trust what another agent put in? Why don't you just give them the listing if you're not going to do the research?
So on here, so the next one is room and sizes. So I will tell you this too. I mean, as you look at the MLS, it is a massive database. And you do not know, just because you don't. And again, I go back to, I'll talk about myself, a high D, high I. But, I went through and I did filter out a lot of stuff. I used this stuff. I looked at bedrooms. If somebody sat down with me, I did a buyer consultation, and that buyer goes, here's what's important to me. I need the primary bedroom to be large. I got a California king, and I got oversized furniture, and 3 dressers, etc. I'm going to look at the room sizes to know, and you just multiply, the square footage, right? I know that if they've got a California king and they got 2 nightstands and they got 3, Ardmore and 2 pieces of furniture for dressers, I know that they probably need no less than 200 square feet of space, right? So I'm going to look at the actual primary bedroom as that.
Yeah.
And so fill this out.
It's not required,
it's not required, but fill it out. I mean, if you want to, people call all the time, Jason, my property's been on the market for 275 days. What can I do?
What
This is
have
the
you
first
done?
thing this is the first thing that I look at. Like, give them an idea, by the
Mhm.
way. Oh, by the way, I'm going to do a shameless plug here. We also added Cuba Casa
Yeah, let me hop over. I'll show you guys where that little.
real quick. 'Cause I know it's not a Cuba Casa commercial, but we added this last year because what I know is that when you have a floor plan, you're going to get 10 times more views
Mhm.
when you have one, both in the MLS and online on a portal, than you would if you did not,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, but doing this, you can add it to your photos, you can add it to your media for those people who are visual, but then it'll also give you all the dimensions so you can easily plug it in right here.
Right.
So it's twofold. So if somebody's filtering by it and actually going by those digits, you've got them covered. If somebody is just a visual person, they want to see the layout, they want to see the sizes, you've got them covered. You've checked all the boxes.
And how much does it cost to do a floor plan, Joanna?
Free.
It's free. I don't
You
understand. I
can
mean,
pay for upgrades if you want, like that,
there
the
is.
dollhouse view, and you can
Absolutely.
put it in there, like you said, the virtual tours and things like that.
There's some things you could put some money into this, but we
Yeah.
want to provide you with the foundation to stand out as people are scrolling. We know not everybody's going to do that. There's only 34 of you on here. So, I mean, but stand out. Like, I mean,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
all right.
All right, next tab, features.
My favorite tab.
Your favorite tab. Listen, there are a lot of people when they go to submit this listing and it's their first one, and we're not picking on anybody because we've all been there. It's your first one. You fill this all out, and they say, "I keep getting a little red button on features. I filled it out. What's missing?" And I'm like, "Well, scroll." And they're like, "Yeah, I see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns." I'm like, "No, keep scrolling, sweetheart." And it just, I know, guys, it's a long tab. There's a lot in here, but these are the features that are going to sell that property at the end of the day. Fill them out, go through them.
Yeah.
So let's
So,
start at the top.
yep, let's start at the top. So amenities. So again, these are what people are going to look for. When you sit down when a buyer's agent sits down, and especially today with having to fill a buyer broker agreement out. I've been filling buyer broker agreements out when I was in the business for 15 years.
Mhm.
I had somebody that told me you need to do this 100%.
Sit down, have your
Have your
consultation.
consultation.
Yep.
It was an hour. What do you want? I actually printed this page out and check marked it, right? And I would actually go in there and I'd hand them a blank piece of paper off a legal pen, go, home dream finder,
Mhm.
right? And I say, fill out everything that you want. If money's no object, everything you want in your next home. And they would fill out everything on it, right? And then I go in here and check it all stuff off, right?
Brilliant. I mean, you could take the MLS input sheet and
And
sit
bring it.
down with your buyers and
What's
say, "This is
important?
everything you can filter by. What do you want to
Well,
filter
especially
by?"
when agents are struggling to show value in what they're
Wow.
gonna get paid, right?
Brilliant.
I am sometimes. I had Wheaties
Only
this morning.
sometimes, only sometimes, guys.
I had Wheaties this morning. It's fantastic. So, but here's some
Alright.
important ones. Stay there. So right hand side middle, bedroom description is not, I'm gonna tell you folks, this is not required, this middle one. But how many times do you have people that cannot walk stairs?
Yeah.
My parents come down and want to buy a house down here. They cannot have a primary bedroom upstairs, right?
Yeah, first
They
floor
have to have
bedroom.
it on the first floor. So fill that out. People do search by it.
If
Uh,
they filter by it and you haven't filled it out, your listing
You're
is not getting sent to
it's
them.
not getting sent to the buyer.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you got everything on here, like, jet ski lift, quick story on that. I had a house I put in there. I was very adamant about this stuff. A captain's walk, because I had a jet ski lift and they had 2 jet skis. That was a house they wanted to go see versus other things I showed them.
Yeah.
Simple things.
All right, you've got your building style. Keep scrolling down there because the amenities list is pretty long. Community type, we've got, especially here in Southwest Florida, communities are a big deal. You've got people who are moving down here just to go golfing, just to go boating, whatever it may be. Make sure you've got your community type in there. And then if you've got golf, we've got all the different golf types here specified out. The type of construction, we've got a lot of people that filter by this, whether they're looking for just concrete block, metal frame, whatever that might be. Your cooling and air system, the dining description.
Real quick here too, on the middle one on construction. No, seriously.
Yes.
Handicap.
Mhm.
I had a soldier that was an amputee.
Yeah.
And that's how we searched. And I can tell you, we missed a lot of houses.
Something already pre-fitted.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
But there were a lot of houses we probably did have that,
They just
but
didn't click
somebody
it.
didn't click it, so we didn't look at their house.
Yeah. Yep. All right, equipment and this is what is going to be included in the sale. We see a lot of people call in with fights over this. If you click washer and dryer, but they're taking the washer and dryer with them,
You can't click.
Don't
Yeah, this
click
is,
it.
this
Why are you
conveys.
selling the wire washer and dryer and you're putting it in here as a bonus and a selling point and they're like, oh no, they're taking that with them. Okay, well, make sure you click in here what's going with the property. Your exterior features of the property. This is stuff we talked about. A lot of people are like, well, yeah, it has a fruit trees or it's got, room for a pool, but I didn't click it. Like, you've got people who are filtering by this outdoor fireplace, the fence. I think this is the biggest thing I see where somebody's like, yeah, it has a fence. I didn't know there was a button for that. All of your dog people are filtering by fences. Exterior feature or finishes of the building. Is it stucco? Is it vinyl? We are getting a new option here added soon. What is that one? Is concrete?
Mhm.
Shouldn't have brought it up. We are getting a couple of new ones that are getting added to here because as construction continues to grow, they've got some stuff that is more weather resistant that we will be adding in
Yeah,
here
it's more of a hardy board, but there's a construction name for it. We'll
for
put it in.
hardy board. Yeah,
Yeah, it's hard, like a hardy board. It's like a
Yeah.
prefab, yeah, siding, but
yeah.
it's concrete siding.
It's concrete. You should
Concrete siding. Yep, that's it. Brilliant.
You are great idea, Jason. Thanks. Floor plan type, the type of flooring that is in that property, and just know all of these are multi options. So make sure if it's got tile and carpet that you're checking off both of them and not just one. Terrazzo, marble, whatever you might have in there. Does the property have gas in it? Yes or no? And then once you select yes, the gas description will be required. And if you're trying to figure out like what the thought process is behind this, or you're trying to find, you're going out here to like add something, these are in alphabetical order. So, and there's space here. So we went from E, F, G. So all this is in alphabetical order if you're trying to find something really quick.
Mhm.
All right, your guest house description. So if you've got an additional parcel on the property, I know a lot of people call and they're like, where's the mother-in-law suite filter? Well, it's not called a mother-in-law suite anymore. It is called a guest house. And they've got the different descriptions in there. It's not required because not every house has that, but it's here. And you want to make sure if you've got that guest house, you're plugging this in because people who are searching for things that have additional quarters are filtering by this. The heat capabilities in the property. So cooling was up top, heat is down here. I know most of our properties nowadays have the central electric in there, so it would be the same for both options. But if you don't, you have the wall units, anything like that, that's here for you. Interior features. This is where your fireplace is, the type of doors, smoke detectors, tray ceilings, wet bar. Again, you've got that wheelchair access here. If it's pre-fitted for the wheelchair access, lots of different stuff in here, and disability equipped.
Yep.
Irrigation for the property, kitchen, and again, that one's not required, but we've got people, they filter by the gas here, and then they filter by the gas up here, because our chefs, they're really big on those gas kitchens. We keep scrolling. We've got the lot description here. Is it a regular lot? Is it an oversized lot? 3 lots, cul-de-sac, dead end? What do we have here? Is it on the golf course? Maintenance. This is going to be the maintenance that comes with the property. If it has like an HOA or the community, what does it come with? If it's not in an HOA, your answer is none. I know a lot of people click like see remarks on a lot of these different tabs because they don't know. Get that information so you can properly put things in so that it gets filtered
And
properly.
that's why I've always asked for HOA docs.
Yeah.
It's gonna tell you, what's included in their
Mhm.
HOA docs. And again,
The type
Joanna
of
brought it up.
management too.
Don't just copy the previous listing. Another will
Mhm.
see in that same community. It's not
No.
good, right?
No, we had, when I was on the other side of the fence practicing, we had somebody, a lawsuit came out because they promised things that were in a community that were completely false. These boxes that they checked here and amenities, completely false. And when the subpoena came across, we said, well, where did you get this information from? Why did you put this? They said, well, this other listing agent, that's what they put. Can't we sue them? This is their fault.
No.
You didn't do your job, All right. I digress.
And you're saying that we're a litigious community we live in here, litigious society. All the lawsuits we're getting, I mean,
Yeah.
it's happening.
Yeah, well, it's like somebody gets sued and they want to sue somebody else for
Yep.
them getting sued, and it's like, that's on you. All right, master bath description here. You've got lots of different options. Is it the combo tub and shower? Is it separate? Shower only, tub only? I keep scrolling. Parking, especially for your communities, do they have multiple parking spaces? Is it covered? Is it driveway? What do they have for parking?
Well, and the big thing with that is even like Fort Myers Beach, is it assigned and is it deeded? Or is it just common, right? So is it something you first come, first served, or do you actually come with a deeded parking space? On the beach and condos, that's huge.
Yeah,
Huge.
I've seen a lot of people too, because if your community has RV and boat parking, that's a popular one.
Yep.
They're looking for that space, and you've got people who are filtering by that because they're coming down, they're bringing their RV, and they're only gonna take the community that allows it. And then a lot of these are also contract related. So possession, are they getting it at closing? Is there a lease back on it? Is this negotiable prior to closing? Is it subject to a lease? So if you've got tenants in there currently, make sure you're disclosing that it's subject to a lease. Restrictions, we see these used a lot for the community, but also, like Cape Coral, they've got restrictions in the community there as well, especially make sure you're disclosing your endangered species. Or if you've got none, you can click none. The road, this is the type of road to access the property. We see this especially used a lot out in the rural areas. They've got the dirt road or no access road. Make sure you're using that. The roofs are really, really popular around here, and we see a lot of people have filters set up by this.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
All right, any additional rooms that the property may have are here. It's a pretty long list there. So private pool and private spa. This is for if that pool or spa, which a lot of people call and they say, what's a spa? It's a hot tub. If these if these are attached to the actual property, they are deeded to the property, they are permitted to the property. This is not for the community pool or, well, the condo building has a private pool. It is only for you and that physical PID. Okay. If it is in the community or it's attached to the condo building, that goes up in amenities. This is just for that property, so make sure you're plugging
I had
that
an
in.
agent that argued with me for 30 minutes about it was in a condo. They said it's a private pool because it's not open to the public.
Yeah.
I'm like, that
If
doesn't.
you go to the pool, are you gonna see somebody else there? That's always, if you get in that pool, is somebody else hopping in with you? Well, yeah, okay, it's not private. Security for the property, again, something that's not required, but we see people filtering by
There's
the,
a lot of filtering by that,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Especially for your communities, like guard at gate, like there's a lot of people, they want that. The sewer for the property, you'll see that water is also down below. Water and sewer are two different ones. Because some people have it separate for whether it's central or well or septic. Special information, this is some really random things where they don't fit in a specific category, but do go through them because it may pertain to you. So if there are deed restrictions, credit in lieu of title policy, just, a lot of things that might be a restriction that you can disclose simply with the click of a button. Survey available. If they've got that survey, that's an added bonus for that buyer or
Yeah.
whoever's shopping.
They have title insurance, prior title insurance, so get a discount if it's within a certain number of years.
Yep.
So that's also cost savings to the
Yep.
buyer.
Foreign seller also, you'll see on a different tab, we've got if it's subject to FERPTA, but if you want to disclose that because there's, different steps they have to take, different financials, this is a good way to disclose that. Storm protection, obviously required in our area. This is really important. Make sure you double check that property, see what kind of shutters it has, if it's got the impact resistant windows. We see a lot of people, especially if they're moving from out of the area, they're worried, they're scared, they want specific storm protection on that property. Terms, this is going to be based on your contract, what they're willing to accept in the agreement and what they're looking for. Are they willing to accept FHA and VA? Are they doing cash only? And I see a lot of people that will do this. They say, oh, we'll accept anything. They go, okay, VA, FHA, buyer financing, cash. Oh, and cash only. Guys, it's either cash only or it is buyer finance or cash. So cash only means cash only.
Yeah, and I think that will be driven off of your listing agreement.
Yep, comes right from that. All right, the view for the property. This is
I love the
important.
none and other. You have a house with no view at all.
Listen, because, and I will tell you guys, no matter what, you know, if you don't have a water view, you don't have a golf course, you don't have the lake, you always, you always have a landscaped area.
You do.
You always have a
My favorite
landscaped area.
is the golf or golf and bay views
Hmm.
where it's like it's like that big. That's your view. It's like a corner that it's
If
that
you
big.
go to the master bedroom and you could stand at the far left of the window and cock your head around the corner, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah,
You
it
can
should
see
be.
it. But yeah, clicking none or other really isn't going to do you justice. You always have a landscape area. I mean, a lot of these, you know, can be used to a privacy wall. But a lot of these can be used. Please, I hate it when I see none or other. And you've got people who are filtering by view. They're moving down here for that Florida
Yeah.
lifestyle. They want that view. So make sure you're doing it justice. But also make sure you're not lying, because there's nothing worse than them going out to the property and it's like you said, water view, but the water is like 10 blocks away. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, on a good day, you could smell the salty air. And it's like they will scream at you. You
Mhm.
wasted their time. They went out to that property and there's nothing worse. All right, so again, we had sewer up top, water is here separately. If there's assessments paid or unpaid, these are really important, especially out in Cape Coral. Make sure you're disclosing whether they've got the assessments paid or unpaid. That'll affect your sale. The windows, the type of windows that they have in the property. We get this call a lot because people don't know. A lot of people will just put sliding, and a lot of people call and they're like, I don't know, what are Dallas windows? What are picture? Guys, Google it. For the love of God, Google it. You'll find the pictures and make sure you put in the right windows here. We see a lot of people filtering by these two. All right, so you got waterfront and golf access. Again, this is for if it's attached to the property. If you've got waterfront checked off, yes, make sure you put whether they've got golf access or not, and the type of access that they have, the type of waterfront that there is, and these are multi-selection. So if there is a seawall and it's a canal, like whatever applies to it, make sure you click all that apply because people can filter out by just one of these.
Mhm.
And then all the way here on the side, if you click off that it is a canal, make sure you are putting the canal width in there as well. That is important for the type of boat access that they are going to be moving with. All right, next tab. We're going to fly through the rest of these in 10 minutes. So your next tab is the financials. You'll see that a lot of this is pulled in from the LIPA. So your property appraiser office will pull in the tax. The rest of this is primarily, I see that there's a hand raised. It's in webinar mode, so there's no way for me to bring you on screen. But if you use the Q&A box, not the chat box, but the Q&A box down below, we'll be able to answer your question, Donna. So your tax information will pull in here to find the tax district type and description, go out to the property appraiser site that will show up on the tax bill. The rest of this is your HOA fees and information that you will find in your condo or HOA docs. So you'll have to do some research and do that, fill it out. This is the part where you see the most liability. Somebody is copying it from another agent and it's incorrect. You do not want the incorrect fees posted out here.
Yeah, that's where getting a copy of the actual bill may come in. On the right-hand side, on the bottom,
Yep,
you also have subject to FERPTA
yep. These
and housing for older persons.
Mhm.
What is housing for older persons?
A community that has an age limit on it.
Okay.
Yep. So make sure you're filling these out properly. If it's got a restriction on there, you don't want to be getting a whole bunch of inquiries from people who don't fit the age limit.
Yep, exactly.
All right, syndication. This is going to be where your listing is fed out to. There's a lot of times we see people click no for these boxes here, and then they call and they're like, why isn't my listing out on the internet? Why isn't it on realtor.com? Why is it on Zillow? Why is it on Homestuck? Well, you click listing on the internet, no. Because
Right.
you know, you're trying to run through these really quick, stop, breathe, take a moment, pay attention. It's really important because then your listing's already been on the market 10 days. It's going to feed out 10 days in and it's going to mess up your whole algorithm. So, and a lot of the times people, you know, they say, well, I don't want it to put like what the website believes that it should be worth, right? Because that's what these estimates are, either the address on the internet, the blogging, or the VOWs, AVMs. If you click no for any of these, it doesn't mean that they're not going to allow blogging or they're not going to allow an estimate to be shown on your property. They're not going to play your game. You're playing their game. It just means they're not, for the sites that do estimates, your property is just not going to show up on their site at all.
Correct.
So, I mean, it's best if you've got particular situations where you can't put the address on the internet, like we get it, that's why that option is there. But for most of the time, you want to click yes on all of these
Right. And
so that
just,
it goes out.
yeah, and just a couple quick things on this, as we have this new rule coming up at the end of this month
Yep.
with delayed marketing, or as I call it, delayed extended exposure. You know, you're gonna have 7 days in which you can put it in the MLS and it won't go out if that's
Yeah.
if
Until
that's
you
the
get-
wish of
Mhm.
the seller, right? But yeah, on the internet, yes, no, people, that's probably one of the biggest things out there on
Yeah.
that.
When you have a listing on vacant land, usually there's no septic or well on site. I've seen that in the past listings indicate well and septic along with none. Just curious why some place both. So, they probably are placing both because there's not city, like they're on lot and land, they're saying what's gonna be accessible, like you're not gonna be able to get central, you're only gonna be able to get well and septic. They need to put none because there is none currently on the property. But what if you're seeing some of them are putting none and then some of them are putting well and septic, they are probably just like stating
will be-
ahead of time what
yeah.
will be available is what
Not
is,
what currently is on there.
yeah. Yeah. Good question though. All right, listing office and agent. This is pretty self-explanatory. This is where you are going to show if you need to add a co-list agent, you certainly can. Your listing date and your expiration date, make sure you get these correct. They come right from your listing agreement. Once you put in an expiration date, you cannot push it back. You can push it forward if you get an extension, but you cannot push it back. Your showing appointment instructions, all of that shows here. If you're using a showing system, you can put that phone number here.
And just a real quick thing on
yeah.
that, make sure that, you know, just take the time out here to do what you need to do with this, because I've seen people just put, you know, call listing office, you know, click mark on that. But that listing office is not open Saturday and Sunday, so we'll come with an email or something else. Make sure that you've got this filled out, it's right, make it easy as you can for that buyer's agent to show that property.
Yeah, too many times they call us because they're trying to chase somebody down they can't find.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, the listing type, so this is the type of listing agreement that you have with the seller. And then is there a sign on the property with seller contact info? That would be the actual sellers, not yours, not the seller agent, the actual seller. So if you are only putting it in the MLS and you are not representing the seller, then you would choose yes for these, where it would just be, you know, buyer's agent deals with the seller directly. If not, make sure you click no. So, and then afterwards, is the listing broker going to be available for contract presentation and negotiation and to perform contract services? So this is based on you, the listing agent, and what kind of service you're offering. What are you going to be included on or not? And below here would be where you would put the settlement agent information. So this would be the title company or the law firm that is handling the closing.
Yep.
Remarks, our last tab for you guys. So this is going to be the property information. This feeds out to the public. Here, you'll notice in red, we've talked about it 3 times already, but commission and compensation is not allowed in the MLS. It's not allowed in any of these boxes. It's not allowed anywhere, but we've put it in here because everybody tries to be sneaky. They love to put some different verbiage in here for all of those thinking, oh, I'm going to put in here, we love buyer's agents. No, we know what you're doing. Don't try to construe commission at all in the MLS. But your property information will go here. Confidential remarks that you want just going to the realtors here in the MLS would go here. And your driving instructions would go here as well. So once you've gotten what you believe to be filled out, you want to make it active, you can click active and click submit. It will show you any fields that you may be missing that are wrong. You can follow these little red buttons and it'll show you exactly what fields are wrong or what is needed. But if you're not quite ready yet, like we said, you can save it as incomplete and it'll stay in here for you for up to 30 days until you're ready to make it live. Anytime you want to come back to it, you are going to go to your listing input just the same way that we started here in the beginning. And then you'll select from which listing it is that you want to edit. In here, where we were before is the listing input. This will bring you to all of those tabs again, but you also have different options in here to manage your photos, manage your supplements, any open houses. It also connects right into showing time and form simplicity. So you can set those things up, and then you can also change it to active.
Can we scroll up to the pictures real quick and go through a couple,
Yeah.
last couple minutes? So photos here, you can actually go through and browse and
Let me see
upload
if
your
we've got any
photos. There
photos.
are,
Yeah, we do.
you can do a couple, yeah. That we've got, so you can actually, go ahead and upload those. You're gonna get a description on the bottom of that through Respi AI if you have that clicked.
Yeah.
That description's on the bottom underneath the description of the actual thing. So living room, you got living room, featuring wood finished floors. If that's not wood, you're gonna, put laminate, right? You want to put what it actually really is. But those descriptions are there so that if you've got somebody that is visually impaired and they've got a reader on their actual either the
Device.
browser itself,
Mhm.
which what they typically do, it's gonna say, living room featuring wood floor surfaces or
Yeah.
wood finished floors or whatever, with tons of lights or, vanity installed. So this is a good thing. Go through, read it, make sure it's accurate. If it's not, if it says it's a crystal chandelier, it's a glass chandelier, make sure you put it's a glass chandelier.
Yeah.
Because you don't want false advertising in there. And a lot of people say, well, I'm not even gonna put that in there because it's too much work. Well, I'm gonna tell you again, rich media, this counts as that, and it's gonna get a lot more exposure online. So you probably do want to use it, just go through there. For the most part, 98% of the time it's right on, but there is that time it's not.
Yeah. And it's going to automatically classify where that picture is. Like this one, for example, it's a picture of like the breakfast bar, but it also is on looking the whole kitchen. So if you wanted to click this and change it to kitchen, you can. It is the whole kitchen. You can
Yep.
leave it as the breakfast bar if you wanted to, but it is going to automatically classify those pictures for you along with those captions.
Certify and save it, you're good to go, done. So anyways, that's that. And then if you roll down to supplements, again, as much as you can provide a buyer's agent, the better off you are.
Yeah.
So if you've got things in there like if you want to upload a seller disclosure, HOA documents, lead paid pace disclosure, anything that you want to make it simple for that buyer to start a contract, do so. Okay. You got a place for a floor plan on there, environmental disclosures, pet control report, a pest control report rather, pet control, surveys. So yeah, I mean, it's there for you. This is great information. This is going to help you get, I'm not gonna say it's gonna help you get offers on it, but it's gonna help that buyer's agent tremendously, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, the other question that we've got here is where do we obtain the MLS non-participation form? It is inside of Form Simplicity. It's in multiple places, but I would say Form Simplicity might be your best bet because then you can fill it out in here. You go to blank forms. We've got a lot of different things in here for you guys to use. But so your Florida Realtors forms are here, and then these are your board specific forms that we've provided you guys. You've got the change of status, and then all the input sheets that we talked about are in here as well. Non-participation agreement is right here. So you can grab that and either put it into your own system if you've got one, or you can use the Form Simplicity system to fill this out and get your signature if needed.
Yeah, I would make that part of the actual, um, listing packet, if you will.
Yeah. And the question is, you use Dotloop. Will it be in Dotloop? You can upload it into Dotloop.
Yep.
And then just put it in there as a template for yourself. So if you download it from here, it'll download as a blank PDF and put it right into Dotloop.
Yep.
Yep. Perfect.
So yeah, so just a couple closing remarks that we're up against the clock here for you guys, but take the time to take the pictures, put vibrant pictures out there, full capacity of the actual size, because you want that information then going out to the syndication sites. Use rich media, use the floor plans, fill out as much as you can. People do sort and filter, and even though you may not, we are here to tell you, we see it on our side. When we look at reports and we look at the MLS on our side, we see what people search by. And we know that there's properties out there that fit their criteria if the agent just took the extra step to go ahead and put that information out there. So it was in there. Just think about this is a big part of your marketing, is exposing it. And the reason why you put it in MLS is so you can expose it to 9,999 other realtors that may have that buyer for your home. You know, not everything syndicates out to Zillow or Realtor.com because they don't have those types of platforms to pull that information in. They get a very watered down API feed. But at least for internally, when you're working with a buyer, they're going to be very specific on what they want. So they will filter a lot more when they're working with an agent. That's why that's got the most granular. Plus, it builds that value to the buyer's agent. I can go on Zillow right now and find a house in Babcock Ranch I want, right? But I'm gonna have to call an agent and say, okay, does this have this, and
Yeah.
this? Because I can't search by that. So
Yeah.
we want that. So
So we have one last question here is under the supplements, where do they input all their docs? They have like the listing agreement. You don't want to put those in there. The supplement section is just for documents that you want everybody to be able to see. So that's stuff for the buyer's agents to view and give to their customers. So your listing agreement and your own documents would be things that you would put in your own systems, whatever you have, you know, for keeping track of your contracts and things like that. But if there is something that doesn't fit one of those drop down categories, like it's, you know, they've got the environmental disclosure, the property disclosure, there is an option that says other, and then it allows you to label what that document is. So if you have something you want to share with everybody and it doesn't fit a category, go ahead and select other.
yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example of that. I used that quite a bit at a rendering of a pool in a backyard that we actually had the plans and everything, and they actually already pulled a permit. And the gentleman worked for an airline and got moved out of the area. So we had to put the house on the market. We already had that information. So we put it up in there as part of the marketing saying, listen, you can get the tool for like $47,000. It's already been, you know, pulled out. So
Perfect.
great stuff like that. So thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for participating, and we'll see you next week, Monday.
Yeah, thank you.